Older men. How old were you when young adult women stopped appealing to you? I don't remember exactly when, but there was a point in my late 20s where 18-year-old girls started to look 14. And that's just gotten worse every year. I don't know how the science behind that effect works, but it is very weird that it does. I don't get this tbh. The older I get, the more younger people just look the same. I couldn't specifically tell the difference between a regular 16-year-old and a 25-ish-year-old, both men and women. Basically sophomore in high school to like end of college just looks the same. Even some freshmen in high school, although that has more variance. My son and his friends could all get served in a bar and they're 16. My daughter's field hockey coach is like 21, and she looks exactly the same as the players. Daughter is also 16. The only thing that gives away age to me is how they act. My kids and their friends will act like dumbass teenagers, because they are, but in a vacuum they physically look no different from college-aged or slightly older people. I'm 34. I'm engaged to a 42-year-old woman. Her daughters are 19, 21 and 22. After spending time with them, I see what my parents meant when I was 21, and they said I was still a child. It's crazy how immature they are. Lol. Thank you. This is so assuring to me, as I'm in love with a man, 34 years old, and I'm 8 years older than him, and I'm not sure if he thinks I'm too old for him. I have so much to give, and I want to love him, but I'm scared to reveal myself. Oh god no. Assume any guy over 30 can be attracted to you. I think some vocal neckbeards and people in power with strange fantasies have created the very unrealistic image of guys being attracted to much too young looking girls. That's simply not true for the majority of us. If I think about dating someone in their 20s, I already get tired and annoyed. I'm 37 and I'd much rather date someone 8 years older than 8 years younger. And I'm definitely not alone. You're dated because I'm dumb. Sometime after grad school, all the freshmen coming in both looked and acted like children. Now I'm not interested in college age kids. I'm not sure what young adult is defined as, but as I got older, what I find attractive age with me. Now having a daughter, anything under 30 would be ike to me. 21-year-olds look like her friends and she's a teenager. Just no way. Wife is 50 and never looked hotter to me than now. By the time I had kids in my late 30s, anyone under 25 looked like a baby. Now, in my 50s, I can appreciate what someone looks like at 25. But they still look and act like kids. I can't imagine dating outside of +/- about 7 years of my own age. It's bizarre how our brains work. This is a normal post, thank you for sharing. The fact that this is a reply that needs to be said says a lot about the sad state of this timeline. No BC as sad as this sounds, thanks for reminding me all men are in fact not like my dad. Around 30, now 43. For me anything outside of 7 to 8 years younger registers as different species. And I'm not a furry. I'm aware they are of opposite sex. Good looking or bad looking. Like some painting in a museum. Just something to be noticed. Like a passing car on a street. Or a tree or bird. Not a furry LMAO. If I'm old enough to be her dad, I'm not interested. I find the alpha tech brothers chasing very young women very weird. They do it mainly for sex, which as uncomfortably as it sounds, makes sense biologically, but when it comes to actual relationship, that goes beyond just sex. They usually don't commit to it. For the same reasons as op can't connect with younger folks. The only appeal that an older man can have towards younger women has always been mostly sexual, and that will never change. Usually, the differences in lifestyle and experiences is just too big for anything more meaningful to exist. I'll let you know when it happens. I've found as I grow older that women my age are still beautiful, and those younger are too. Hell, some women older than me, looking at you Martha Stewart, that are just as gorgeous as younger women. Helen Mirren, a man of culture. Agent Scully, double upvote. I'm 26 and 19-year-olds are babies to me. It starts to level off. I have close friends who are a decade older than me. I'm 29 and have been told that if I was 20 and they were 30, we probably wouldn't get along. but almost 40 and almost 30 is fine. I feel like 26 to 27 is kind of where most people settle in. Pretty much from there most of the changes are how tired you are and how much of your body is still working. I would confirm. During 2022 I dated both a 25-year-old and later a woman who was nearing 35 I think. Birth year was 9 years earlier than mine from what I recall, and really they did not feel that different. The world is healing in eyes. After reading these comments, yes, I feel like the world isn't as bad of a place as I think. In my 30s, having 3 daughters and thinking about how men would look at them made me cringe. Same here, but 2 daughters. I was in my early 30s when anyone below about 26 became way too childish to want to around, and now that I'm in my 50s the bar is about 40 yo. Early 30s I guess they kinda became like deer. I'll enjoy seeing one and appreciating its grace, but I know I'm too old to prance around in the fields with one. What did you do with deer in the fields when you were younger? Poop and eat leaves? Sheesh, maybe around 25. I remember 20 years ago, I was getting back on my feet after a divorce and I took a job in a typical call center. Awful work and tons of 20-something-year-olds. I remember this hot 20-year-old came onto me pretty hard. It was flattering, but I just kept thinking, I have absolutely nothing in common with this girl. I'm sure that's atypical though. I've never been a casual hookups type person. The next girl I did take an interest in I ended up marrying lol. I can't tell exactly, but I guess around 35 probably. 55 now. One day, there was a difference between beautiful and attractive. The attractive is still ±15 years now, generally speaking. So I guess my 35, 15 equals 20 has some truth in my case. The beautiful has no limits. 35 and 20 is ooh. About 32 I saw some scantily clad 20-ish-year-old women in the middle of winter and my first thought was put some clothes on cause it was so cold outside. That made me chuckle. I mean they were still hot cause young adults are hot, but I realized my view on it has changed big time. Yes, the transition from she's hot to aren't you cold is a bit jarring the first time you encounter it. It was like a brunch to on a freezing day. They weren't actually scantily clad, but like short dresses and lots of cleavage type of things. I remember watching them walk in with what was probably a look of disgust cause I was just thinking how cold it was lol. It's -36°C feeling like -40°C something with wind chill here. If I saw anyone not dressed like it was cold outside I'd be legitimately worried. I'm 56 years old and learned 2 new words from this thread, Janet and Vicenarian. What a pleasant day when one learns 2 new words, especially when one thinks one already knows a lot of words. People are giving you a hard time, but this is a transition into adulthood that's hard for a lot of guys to navigate and talk about. It's normal to take on an avuncular sort of attitude toward people much younger than you. For me, it's one of the nicest things about getting older. You can still have feelings of warmth and attraction that have nothing to do with sexual ambition. That goes equally for older people and younger people and people my own age. But you shouldn't be saying EWW about any of it. The most important things about these people never had anything to do with their sexual appeal. I was never really into girls younger than me, but I knew I'd gotten old sometime in my mid-30s when I was driving through the city late at night and saw a girl in a very skimpy skin-tight dress. My first thought was she should have bought a jacket because she must be freezing. Hasn't happened yet. As I've gotten older, I've realized that finding a woman physically attractive is not the same as finding her sexually attractive. There's a big difference between somebody I would date and being physically attractive to somebody. Hot is hot. Men often say stuff like this, but I know damn well, if we check porn histories, none of us is filtering out sexy women because they're 22. I also don't know how people can so clearly determine the ages of strangers. I look older than I am, and I can't really tell the difference between women ages 25 to 35 in most cases. Honestly, physically never. A good looking woman is a good looking woman. For dating and having things in common, that's a different story. But if I have a chance at just sex with a younger woman, I would not turn it down. I'm single though. I had 25 when I started thinking like that. 18 to 23 millimeters no. I prefer my peace. Too annoying. I started dating older women at 25 and never look back. 35 plus or nothing. I'm 40 and I've been in a relationship with my wife since I was 18. But as a normal dude, I reserve the right to find other women attractive. I think around 30 I felt I would never be able to date with a woman younger than 25. Now I wouldn't consider any woman younger than 30 to 32. Nothing against them. They can be very pretty, and everything is in the fantasy realm in my case. But I don't feel I would be attracted on all fronts to someone much younger than me. There's something about experience, confidence, etc. that really would need to match my style. Of course there can be exceptions, but I would prefer to leave the young for the young. Also, when my mother died, my 37-year-old dad married a 22-year-old girl, and it was a shit show from the start. So there's that. Wow, that sounds crazy. The last part. Sigh. /view 200D. Never. I think discriminating based on age isn't fair, or lack of experience is something I can always help with. Why? When you had the whole animal kingdom to pick from, did you pick a genet and make me have to Google it?